Hi, welcome back once again. In the last video, we successfully refactored our entire code. We have made our code in easy to scan so anybody can read and understand that which request storing which variable and which variable calling which method. So we have successfully refactored our code, and refactoring is very important because when you're working on a large scale application, on that time you have to refactor your code because at a certain time everything's become very cluttered and very hard to manage. Okay, so that's why we have to keep refactoring our code during our entire development process. So in this video we'll talk about the middleware, that how we can use middleware for our maximum advantage, what is middleware and how we can create middleware in our applications. So let me give you a small example for that. So I will take my app variable and on that I'll take use keywords, and use is generally defined for a middleware, and inside this I have to pass the URL on which I want to create my middleware. So I'll simply come here and come all the way down. I can simply copy this URL. Okay, I'll come up here and I can simply pass the URL. Okay, so earlier what we were doing here, look at in this get all product method, we were passing two arguments. One is request and the other one is response. But when it's come to middleware, we pass three arguments: request, response and next. So let's call those request, response and next keyword. It's a arrow function, and inside this we can write all the logic which we want to do. If you want to protect any page, you must have seen in a web application that when you want to access any information, they say that you have to log in. That means they have used middleware or protect this router for a special functions. So we can do that, we can have that functionality using this middleware functions. So what I want to do, I want to simply console log out something every time I make any one of these requests. If I try to access all the information, create or a get post, I want to simply log out something in my console. Okay, so I'll simply say console dot log, and in this I'll say hi, I am from middleware, middleware, and make sure you have to call next keyword. Okay, next. So let's come back to my postman, and if I make any request, if I send a request, you will see, let's come back, hi, I'm from middleware. It's log out, means our middleware function is working successfully. If I come for create post or a single post, hi, I'm from middleware, so that means everything's working fine. If you want to send this middleware only for the update, single post or delete, so you can do that as well. Simply come here and provide the ID. So this will only run for this middlewares update, delete and get single post. So if I come here and if I make the request on get all product, it will not run. As you can see, let's come back here, and here we can't console log out that, but if I create, delete or update, it will happen. So if I click on delete, and here our middleware is working. So this is how we can add a specific middleware to a specific URL to perform certain condition. Okay, so it's absolutely working fine. So this is how we can create middleware, and we can put our logic. And let me show you that if I remove this next keyword, so our middleware will stuck, it will not run, and you will see why. So if I come and if I try to delete this, if I send the request, you will see that this sending request is keep going on, it will never end because our middleware is stuck. Our request is somewhere stuck in the middleware, it's there, it's not moving forward. So for that, what we have to do, we have to provide this next one. If I come here, if we make this change, we'll get the response. If we try to get a single tour, okay, we are getting it perfectly, and here we can able to console log out that perfectly. So this is how we can use our own middlewares, and we're going to use a lot, don't need to worry about it. Okay, so I want you to install one more package. So let's open up the second terminal and let's install Morgan. So let's clear my terminal, npm imorgan. So this is the package I want to install, and I want to use as a middleware. Okay, and you will find it why. So we have successfully installed Morgans. Now let's simply call it. So I'll take console const morg in Morgan and require required, and simply call. Visual Code Studio is really very smart. It will give you this auto suggestion. That means that you already have Morgan in your package files. So what I can do here, I can simply come down here and I can use this Morgan as a middleware. So Morgan is also a middleware, and what it does, it will tell you that what kind of request user are making on your API, and you can able to find it out whether it's 404, it's a get or post. You can easily able to find all those, and on the base of that you can easily set the condition. Okay, so what I can do, I can simply call app dot use. Inside this I'll call Morgan, and in this you will have this couple of options. So we need this only for development purpose, because Morgan is also used only in development, not in production. So I'll use this dev, and let me show you how it's work. Okay, let's come back to our original terminal. This is everything is working fine. Now if I make any request, you will see first we are on get method. Okay, we are getting all the product details. So if I make any request, we are getting the product details. Let's come back to our terminals, and here you can see, here we are getting something, and this is coming from Morgan. So here Morgan is behaving like a middleware, is trying to find out that what kind of request users are making. So I made get request, so it's giving me the URL, and the status code is 200, stand for OK. So here we have specified 200 stand for OK, and the time it took, response time, how long it took to send the response. If I come back once again and go to my create post, let's come here. This time you will see that it's working on post. Let's come back one again. Let's go to the single tool, and let's make this request. And here we can able to see it's a get method. This is the URL, and this is the ID 200 status code. So here Morgan is also acting as a middleware. Okay, and you might be thinking that why we are using this, because sometime you have to write a specific condition, you have to build a logic on the base of the user request. So on those time, these informations are really important. So you can write a conditioning that if someone's getting, so you can set the conditions like if someone's try to access your page more than 10 times, then you have to show something different. Such kind of logic you can only write when you have this data. Okay, so we use this Morgan. Okay, so that's why we have used this Morgan, and this will be there for the entire this project, because I want to see that what kind of requests users are making. So I hope you have a pretty much good understanding that how middleware works and why we use it. So this is the one middleware functions. We have altogether we have used two middleware functions. One is Morgan, and one we have created our own ones. So I hope you have understood that how middleware works. And before I move ahead into this middleware function and extracting these piece of code, as you can see, these codes are repetitive. Okay, this if statements where we are checking whether the ID is valid or not, we are checking in get, update, and deletes. So we're going to convert this into a middleware function. So every time any request runs, we have to check the ID. Okay, I hope you have understood that how middleware works. So before I start moving ahead, and you can see that here we have a lot of repetitive code in our get single product, update product, and delete product. Let's create a middleware for this which check the ID whenever user hit any request and provides the ID. So let's create the middleware for that. So before I create the middleware for that, let's refactor our entire code. Let's split all these codes into a different file. One file for controller, all this controller, delete, post, update, controller, and one file for the routers. And the reason why we are doing in this way, because this application is going to be huge. We have to handle different things which interact independently, or it will have a coordination between the applications. So it's very important that we have to split our file. So whenever we want to do any changes, we know, okay, this particular things is handling this part, so we can easily able to do the modification in that. So let's quickly refactor the code and split our code into different files in the next video.